This podcast is going to be dedicated to hydration, which sometimes we have hard time understanding what it means. So I would just hand over this to you where you can tell us what's absolute minimum, good enough, and maybe reaching the optimum level.
When it comes to hydration, in general, people are drinking way less than they should.
Uh-huh.
And when it comes to the numbers, it's usually around the 2 or 3 liter mark, which people kind of think is 8 glasses. What is the standard? But it's definitely more than 8 glasses. It should be around 10 to 12, especially if you are an active individual and if it's a warm time of the year. So, how much water you drink definitely depends on a lot of different factors. One is the time of the year. Everybody drinks less during winter, and which is normal because you don't perspirate as much, but at the same time you should continue drinking enough so that your skin doesn't dry out and so that your minerals and vitamins actually get distributed all around the body. But sometimes it's hard to drink enough water during the cold months. So that's where the fact that it's not just about water, it's about fluids comes into play. So if you're intaking more soups or warm drinks that all contribute to the actual amount of fluids that you're taking per day. So that's definitely something to consider, because when people say you need to drink 8 glasses of water, you don't really need to drink 8 glasses of water if you, for example, had 3 glasses or cups of tea that day, or you had a soup for lunch, or, it's all contributing towards it. Or if you're drinking smoothies, it all goes towards
So
it.
you're saying it should be total liquid.
Yes. So the point is liquid.
Right.
Of course, when it comes to liquid, there are better options than others. If you're drinking lots of sodas or sugary drinks, they are contributing to the liquid part, but they're
Right.
also full of other stuff that is going to dehydrate you again. So, if you're drinking 8 sodas a day, that's not good. so,
Uh-huh.
um, so yeah, basically it should be clear liquids or some nutritious liquids like soups or stews, or teas, of course, that will bring you some benefits towards it. That's definitely the case. And also another thing that people don't really know is you can hydrate through vegetables and fruit, because there are some fruit and vegetables that contain more water than others. For example, watermelon or cantaloupe or even pineapple. They all have tons of water inside, which is connected to the fiber that you're getting as well from those vegetables and fruit. And then you're actually tying that water in a much better way. So that also contributes towards
So
it.
it kind of tends to do better to your body because of
Absolutely.
the
Yeah.
minerals and other. Okay.
Yeah. And also, when it comes to drinking enough fluids, it's important to distribute it throughout the day. So if you just had a workout and you drank like a whole liter of water, that's great, but you will probably go to the bathroom and, dispose of maybe 40% of that. So that doesn't mean you should take that 1 liter and that's it, and then have just one more throughout the day. It means that you should continue sipping on liquids and never staying dehydrated throughout the day. Because when you start feeling thirsty, that's kind of the end already. That's already too late in a way, because your body already got the sensation and the information that you are thirsty.
So you mentioned something important to point out, sipping,
Mm-hmm.
meaning you should try to regulate
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly.
constantly, like
Yeah.
maybe carry a water bottle and just continue to just keep sipping and drinking rather than drinking a lot and then not enough for the next 4 hours.
Exactly.
Just kind of keep doing it. Just keep your body hydrated.
Yeah, just stay consistent throughout the
Yeah.
day. Yeah, because
Consistent
usually when you start
sipping.
feeling thirsty, that means that you've been dehydrated for a while. And
Yeah.
there are different ways to check the levels of your hydration. One is definitely thirst that you feel. Another one is just having dry mouth. If you start feeling like you need you need to water your mouth, it usually means that you're thirsty, even if you don't feel that you're thirsty. Then, of course, one of the most famous ones is the color of your urine. Actually, it depends on how yellow, basically, it is, or dark.
If it is very yellow, meaning you're not drinking enough water.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so it should be, lightly colored to almost transparent. Um, and of course, if you're having muscle cramps, that can also mean that you're dehydrated because you're not taking enough fluids. Same can also happen with headaches. If you're not drinking enough fluids, you can have headaches. There's a lot of different things that can happen in the body if you're not taking enough water, I mean, fluids. And that's because we're mostly comprised of water. We're 60 to 70% water as human beings. And we need water to function so many different ways. And a lot of people think that when they retain water, because that's what happens, especially to a lot of women, because of our hormones, you should not drink water, which is completely wrong. Because in order to dispose of that water and actually get rid of the excess water, you need to drink water
Wow.
to get that out.
You
Uh,
know,
and it
that's good.
helps with everything, with your digestion, with your sleep, with absolutely everything. Because without water, we definitely can't function.
So when you say, like, if you feel you're retaining water,
Hmm.
how do you feel or know that you're retaining water?
Well, first of all, you feel bloated, you feel puffy.
Okay. Yeah.
You can, in some major, um, I mean, cases, let's say, you can have swollen ankles, you can have swollen hands, and then sometimes when you press on your skin, you can have like a little indentations that are left,
Ah,
which means that there's retained fluid,
right. Yeah.
and that just means your lymph system, your lymphatic system, is just stuck, and it needs a push. And the only
Kind of.
way that it will get a push is either through manual push, like a lymphatic massage or drainage, and through water, through drinking water.
So you kind of mentioned, I was making a note of. So the six things you said: thirst, dry mouth, color of urine, muscle cramp,
Mhm.
headache, and feeling bloated.
Yes,
So all those indicate that you need to hydrate yourself.
exactly. Yeah.
So, which is very interesting because, you know, JoyScore app is about educating people.
Hmm.
And all these things that we talk to you about is part of that educational process for people to understand
Yeah.
what does hydration mean? What is the purpose of water in your body?
The
And
purpose of water in your body is just to be able to optimize all functions in your body. So it carries nutrients from one cell to another. It helps with your digestion. It just pushes everything through. So everything is working and flowing because of water. If you don't have enough water, everything is stagnant
right.
and it just stays there. So you can create inflammation, it can create all sorts of problems because it's just standing there and it's not supposed to. Because everything in your body is supposed to be running constantly. Like your heart is pumping all the time, every cell in your body needs to be working. They can't just stop. Because when they stop or they slow down, that's when the problems start.
So I think we kind of covered all of the critical aspects of hydration.
Yeah.
So now I like to let you talk about things which people generally don't understand. Because
Hmm.
at the basic level, I think anyone who can listen to what you just talked about, there's solid information in what they need to do.
Yeah.
So now you can take um, it to a higher level of things which are of better understanding that people can develop about hydration.
Yeah, so basically, when it comes to hydration, people don't really understand how important it is in a lot of different ways because people pay attention to what they eat. Let's say People pay attention to their workouts, people pay attention to their sleep, but they don't really pay attention to how much they drink. And once they start writing down how much they drank throughout the day, they all realize in the end that they drank too little. And the only time when they reach for a bottle of water is when they feel thirsty,
And
which
that's
is, like we said, completely wrong. And then again, some people like to drink a ton of water during the night, which is also wrong because that means you haven't hydrated enough throughout the day, or you ate something that was a late snack or a dinner that had a lot of salt, which,
salt a little
yeah, or garlic as well, which dehydrate you completely. And then what happens after that is you have a completely sleepless night with poor quality sleep because you keep waking up to either go to the bathroom or drink water because you're constantly drinking and going to the bathroom. Drinking and going to the bathroom is like, it's a constant loop. And at the end, your sleep is poor, and then your recovery is poor, and then everything just feels wrong.
Yeah.
So the importance of hydration is extreme. It's extreme because it's one of those things that we can completely control. It's easy. It's easy to control how much you drink during the day. It's not easy to control your sleep because people have troubles with insomnia or waking up, and it's really hard to work on that. It's also really hard to exercise for some people. It's hard to eat clean for some people. But
Yeah.
drinking water, first of all, it's free. And second of all you have to do is have a bottle with you. So it's really easy, and it's those easy things that we seem to underestimate most of the time in our lives. So yeah, it's incredible how much drinking enough water can do for you. And those people that really figured out that they don't drink enough, they took like a 2 week or a 3 week kind of trial where every day they drank enough water, and they all report feeling better after that, all of them. And all of their like brain fog is gone, fatigue is gone, um, feelings like irritability are gone as well, because once you're dehydrated, a lot of different systems in your body just shut down because your body is thinking that you're in danger and it's trying to preserve itself. So all the non-necessary actions of your body, they just stop or they pause because you don't need them. You don't need them if you don't have water. You need to survive, right? So your body is holding on to the last drop it has just to be able to survive. And the same is happening with food as well. It's the same thing. When you're starving yourself, basically, your body is going into danger zone, and it's trying to survive. So that's why it's so important to make sure that that hydration works the same way. Even worse, we can live without food for much longer than we can without water. So
It's interesting how when you talk about um, eating right, working out, doing all those things, and then ignoring the water, the hydration
mm,
part, it's
yeah,
so important.
it
And yet
definitely is.
we kind of take that as a lower priority,
Yes, we do.
which
Say,
perhaps
we
needs to be
shouldn't.
as high
Yeah.
or maybe higher priority than anything else.
Exactly. And one of the major things about drinking enough water is it helps you get rid of all the toxins.
Ah,
So it helps you flush out all the bad things that happen in your body for a variety of reasons. And some of them might not be even self inflicted. Like you might be exercising and eating clean and taking care of yourself and not drinking, alcohol or not smoking or anything like that. And at the end of the day, your body still has toxins to process from environment,
right.
because we're inhaling air that is polluted. We're drinking water, if we're drinking it without a filter, that is also polluted. We are, living on a daily basis amongst a lot of toxins, and our body needs to get rid of that somehow, even if you're not eating McDonald's every day. So it's important to drink enough water so that you can flush out the toxins, because there are many ways through which we get rid of the toxins, and definitely one of them is perspiration or urine. And that's where the water is so important.
So let's translate the 8 glasses you said,
Mm-hmm.
8 being kind of a minimum. So how many ounce is each glass?
You got me there. I am
Because
European person. I
no,
have different metric system.
yeah.
I don't
So,
know. I
so
definitely have to check.
I'll have to because
They need to
that
equate to around 2 liters per day. That should be 8 glasses.
2 2 liters. Okay, that's good.
Yes. Yes. I
Two
don't know.
liters.
Is that all? Is that like
So
64?
can you uh,
No, I don't know. I
check
don't
this
know in
out?
ounces. I'm sorry.
How many ounces is 2 liters? You can check. Just Google it. How many ounces 2 liters?
67.
Oh, see, I was almost
67.
there. I said 64. Yeah, we were almost there. Yeah, I'm really bad when it comes to ounces, and I just don't know it. It's the same when I'm doing like when I'm reading some sort of recipe, and when it says cup, I'm okay. Cup is a cup, but don't ounces. No ounces for
See,
me. No
what
ounces.
happens is I have a bottle that I generally use during the day,
Mm-hmm.
and I always fill it up and leave it in. It's a glass bottle
Mm-hmm.
because I don't like to use plastic bottle because
Yeah, you definitely should because
so
no
so
toxins.
that is 32 ounce. So meaning if
That's
I
1 liter.
yeah, so if I drink two of those, then
Mm-hmm.
I have done enough water. So that's
Exactly.
kind of good measure.
Exactly.
This
That's exactly the thing.
this is so so good, Carla. You're just amazing.
Thank you.
Because the thing I like about you is that when we talk about a topic, you're very clear about your understanding and how to guide someone what to
Yeah,
do.
well, I've been doing this for a long
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I've been a teacher for a long time, so I know how to explain it to people,
right,
especially because when I came here, and I don't want to, say anything bad about America, but basically the education system here, when it comes to nutrition, is really bad. It
right,
is.
right,
People don't really know anything about nutrition. They don't learn it in schools.
right,
We don't really do that in Europe that much, but people in Europe are generally more educated about it.
right.
We have
More
we
sense.
have it in schools. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I started talking to people here who are athletes and they didn't understand things about, food and toxins and what's bad for them, I couldn't believe it, honestly, that their coaches wouldn't tell them,
Sure,
I was
sure.
shocked. I was shocked because on the highest level, I told you who I worked with, and I didn't expect that. I didn't expect that somebody that high wouldn't really have any knowledge
Knowledge.
about what they're drinking. Like, for example, one of the biggest sponsors today of a lot of brands is Gatorade, and it's the worst possible thing you can put in your body. It's the worst
Hey,
possible thing, but people drink it all the time.
why
And
is
athletes,
Gatorade bad?
because it's full of artificial stuff inside that you don't really want in your body. It's full of, previous versions had a ton of sugar as well. Now they have sugar-free options, but even those sugar-free options are full of artificial stuff, chemicals, colorings, artificial
So,
flavors,
so
like
we have to be
nothing. It's
conscious.
water with chemicals.
Yeah, we have to be conscious of
Oh, definitely. And that's the
drinking
thing.
just
People are not.
plain, simple, clean water, or
Yes.
it coming from fruits and vegetables.
Yes, and I understand how confusing some things may be,
Right,
because when you go into a store and you see something marketed as healthy,
right.
people are not generally going to turn around the product and
And
read the
check.
label.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's right.
And on the label, you can actually see
What a-
all the ingredients that are there that shouldn't be there. It just shouldn't be there. There's a ton of artificial names and a lot of chemicals that you cannot even pronounce. A lot of like E numbers. It says E and then a dash and a number that you don't want in your body because your body doesn't know what to do with it. It's not supposed to be there. So it has to get rid of it somehow. And then it just over kills your liver that is
right,
processing or the toxins. So
exactly.
exactly. It's like, stevia, the sweetener.
Right.
So real stevia comes from a plant. It's a plant. And it's just a plant that's dried and then crushed into a powder. And you can buy the leaves by themselves. It's very sweet, very, very sweet. One of the most famous brands is called Truvia, And if you read on the label in the back, the first ingredient of Truvia isn't stevia. And
Oh,
you're like, what? That's supposed to be stevia. No, it's erythritol is number one. And then number two is stevia.
oh,
And it's supposed to just be stevia. It's marketed as stevia
yeah.
when it's actually not even stevia.
Ah,
But it says, healthy alternative to sugar. And yes, of course, in the majority of the time, you would be better drinking that than real sugar. But not really. If the sugar you're taking is, unrefined and it's just brown, unrefined sugar, you will be better off drinking that than Truvia. And you can quote me on that. Because yes, this is sugar. It has more calories. It is definitely high glycemic, but it's not a chemical. It's unrefined. It's not a chemical. When I went to Bali for the first time and I arrived to my resort, I received like a welcome drink, which was pure sugar, basically drink that was from the plant itself. It was like pressed, hand pressed from the plant. It was extremely
stevia,
sweet.
of stevia?
No, of sugar, of sugar cane.
Oh,
So I
sugar.
had like sugar cane
Oh
juice.
my God.
I've never seen that in my life. I saw a guy with a huge
I
sugar
have
cane
I have had sugar cane juice.
and he pressed it, like hand
Right,
pressed it, and
right, right.
he made me a drink. And I knew what it was, and I looked at it and I was like, are you kidding me? This is pure sugar. And I'm just gonna drink that?
You
Yes, it was
know,
very sweet.
I I
But
had
it's right there from the
I
source.
I had a sugar cane juice
Hmm.
which also had with it, they kind of were running in the press,
Hmm.
ginger
Hmm.
and lime.
Yeah, they add
So
ginger and
so they
lime. Yeah.
added that. So I was drinking and it was so tasty.
It's sweet, but it's tasty. Exactly.
Tasty. So the ginger had the little punch in it,
Hmm.
and lime has a little sourness in it.
Yes, acidity.
And
Yeah.
I couldn't believe how tasty it was.
Yes, it's absolutely amazing. And that's kind of the thing. People don't understand that that drink,
Uh-huh.
it's an energetic bomb. It is.
Right,
But
right.
it's definitely healthier for you
But the
than
same thing, if
chemicals.
you go to the refined sugar, then I have learned, and to some extent, that if you were to have three options of sugary drink, one like we just talked about, sugarcane juice, and then we have brown sugar, and then white refined sugar.
Hmm.
So sugarcane juice perhaps is least harmful, then is the brown sugar, and then white purified sugar is the worst.
Exactly. It's absolutely the worst because it's not even, it's full of chemicals.
Right.
But when you compare it to, and like, what's it called? The alternative to that you
Oh,
have usually
yeah,
in Starbucks and everywhere. What's it called?
yeah, yeah,
Splenda.
yeah,
Splenda.
Splenda.
Splenda is probably the worst of all of them because Splenda is pure chemicals.
Yeah,
Doesn't even have anything else. It's literally made in a lab and
right,
it's pure chemicals. So, sometimes there are worse things than sugar. There are
right,
worse things than white flour. There are worse things than refined sugars. And I'm going to, always going to be the person who's going to tell you that trans fat, and just hydrogenated vegetable oils are definitely worse than sugar. I would always take a spoonful of refined white sugar rather than that.
right.
It's just worse for your body. It
Yes, so
definitely like is more carcinogenic.
I was reading about it, like they explained it like in 50s, so which is going back 70 years when the food started being manufactured.
Mm-hmm.
So the manufacturers of foods started adding sugar and salt in everything because that was the cheapest taste boost, and they didn't care about how much it hurt you. And then they came up with this corn syrup,
Oh my God, yes. High fructose corn
Yeah.
syrup. Yep.
So the point is that this whole concept of manufacturing food, which moves food away from its natural state.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So one of the things in one of the seminars I attended, he talked about that. Look, the food closest to its natural state is the best.
Absolutely.
Like when you were talking about the sugarcane juice.
Hmm.
So if it's coming from its most natural state, is perhaps the best,
Yes.
rather than it being processed and then chemicals and everything else.
Yes, that's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. And one of the things that people don't understand is that when you are taking food from the source, when you are taking food in its real form, um, it can still have, people say, yeah, but it can have pesticides and it can have this and that. That is all true, but it's definitely way better
Better
than, processing it with hydrogenated oils or adding a bunch of chemicals to it. And, it's important that people get conscious about what they're eating, because I've had a ton of clients who would tell me that they eat normal diets, that they eat lots of vegetables and fruits, and then they tell me that they buy it in Walmart. So yeah, I get it, but at the same time, the GMO apple that you bought in Walmart is definitely not the best option for you, because at the end of the day, it's going to cause an inflammation just like fried chicken would.
than right.
And that's what people don't understand,
So
because they
let,
think that when they're drinking
right.
stuff that says healthy on them or eating chips that say healthy on them, they don't necessarily have to be healthy. Just because the FDA approved the word healthy on it, it doesn't mean that it's healthy.
Well, you have the word healthy, you have organic.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, and maybe I've asked you this before. Have you heard of a documentary called What the Health?
Yes. Yeah.
Seen it?
Yes.
What do you think of
Um. Hmm. Okay.
it?
This is a longer conversation.
Okay. So how about this?
To
We
me,
we
let
take
let
the
let,
next
let
podcast.
yes, we can talk about it the next podcast.
Okay,
But
let's
when
do
it
that.
comes to any type of movies, um, books, or anything that is glorifying one diet over the other, I am not generally a big fan of that. I do agree 80% to what
No,
they're
but I
saying.
think the philosophy there is, and I like to suggest that if you don't mind, and unless you have something else you want to talk about,
No, of course.
next week discussed we discussed this documentary called What the Health.
Okay, sure.
And
Let's do that.
it preaches people to be vegan,
Yes, it does.
not vegetarian, but
Yes,
vegan.
yes.
So we'll have that discussion because uh, like you said, anything which is glorified may also be giving you the wrong message.
Exactly. And that's why
And one has to
we can
be
talk about
very
that.
very observant,
Yes.
and in anything, just take the best of what it has to offer.
Yeah, because it's very easy to
You like
glorify
something,
something
yeah,
and badmouth something else
right.
and cause somebody to change their entire life and everything that they did before just because they saw something on a movie. You know?
So next week we'll talk about what the health
Sure. Let's do that.
and benefits and disadvantages of being vegan.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Karla.
Yeah.
It
Thank
was
you.
a great podcast, and we'll see you again in a week.
Sure.